Welcome to Focus on the Fun Stuff podcast with me, your host, Emma Mills. It's the place where business owners come to rediscover the joy in building their businesses and create success that's meaningful to them because it's different for all of us. And on today's episode, it's me. I'm solo, knocking the microphone over. And I'm excited for today because I want to dive into a topic which has affected me personally in 2020 and 2021, prevented me from focusing on the fun stuff. And it's not just crucial for your business. I think it's crucial for relationships, your sanity. And it is being rhythmic and consistent in following up. And I don't just mean on leads in your business, but in life generally with relationships. So following up with people, following up with relationships, people that you've met, leads as well in your business, of course. But I think that we underestimate nowadays, especially as we all get more disconnected with phones and social media, just how important it is to nurture and create and connect with relationships. And often we've met people, again, whether it's personal or business, and we leave it so long that we think it's too late to send the message. We get embarrassed. We think people will think we're stupid because we said we were going to send that message and we never did. And I know this is to be true because I've been there. I've spoken with hundreds, must be thousands, hundreds of business owners over the past 16 years who feel the same. So they end up just not doing it, and they think it's better to. They ultimately waste an opportunity, whether it is a piece of business or a relationship, because you get in your own head about, I've left this far too long, the opportunity won't be there anymore. Because like when you've been to an event, maybe you've had a great conversation with a great opportunity, and 3 months later, you realise that you just never sent the text that you said you were going to do. You never went for that coffee that you said sat next to each other. We should definitely do that. And I mean, let's face it, in business, following up on leads isn't the most glamorous part of running a business. And following up in life, maybe it's too specific of a term and people don't think about following up in life, but it can come with sometimes confidence or a lack of it. And so it makes us not press the button on the text. It makes us not just, rather than scrolling on socials, taking 5 minutes to make that phone call and just to go, hey, do you remember me? How are things? Shall we organise that chat? And we get in our own heads about whether people want to hear from us. But I think it's one of the most important skills, tools and systems to get right in your life and in your business. And literally, last year at my PA, we redid our values because we were 16 years old. And one of our core values is that we are relationship builders, because it's one of the biggest lessons I've learned in the past 16 years. Pretty much everything that is good that has happened to me and my PA has happened from a relationship. It literally underpins my entrepreneurial journey so far, like connecting, knowing, liking and trusting people. That's where everything's happened. And when you get it right, it's what allows you to focus on the parts of the business that are fun, like connecting with amazing clients, seeing your diary full of discovery calls, knowing that marketing spend is being maximized. This is in the business, obviously. But in this episode, I just wanted to share a practical framework for follow-up that's easy to remember, even easier for me to teach. I'll also let you just in on a personal story. I'll delve into it a bit more about how I used to struggle with follow-up myself, and I didn't even realize I was struggling with follow-up. And when I did something about it, it transformed where I spent my time and following up with actual relationships in business. But it also transformed the sales that we were making. And so my own personal story is that back in 2020, our business started to get busier from the initial kind of panic of when we were in lockdown. And then from the summer onwards, as I had more time to create more content, connect with more people, we started to get busier and we had more leads coming in. And you know what happens, life happens, things come up and you think, oh, I'm going to get back to that person tomorrow, or I'm going to get back to that person. And you just never quite do. And it gets really frustrating when you drop the ball on follow-up. And I think it does eat away at confidence of actually going to do it. And for me, here's the thing with follow-up. It isn't just a nice to have. It's like, in business, it's the bridge between interest and action. And when it's done right, it's what allows you to maximize your marketing spend. It gets your business, your week with discovery calls. And whether you're doing the discovery calls or someone else's, it enables you to focus on what you love because it frees up your time. And also discovery calls mean more sales, mean more cash flow in the business, and everything exists in business with cash coming in through the door. So in my time in 2020, I'll be honest, I thought as we got busier, there was a time when only I could do the follow-up. I thought no one could do it better than me. We've all been there. But the reality was that I was following up sporadically and stuff was falling through the cracks. And I'd have those Friday mornings on an admin day where I was catching up and I'd go, oh my God, I've just realised I never sent that person what I promised last week, or I never called that person on Wednesday like I said I was going to do, and I'm doing a really poor job of this. But I still for a while maintained, but it's still better if I do it. And the thing is, that year probably soldiered on, for once, for a better word, with me going, but there's nobody else that can do it. And there came a point as lead flow got busier because we started spending some money on Facebook ads that, it was just... It was stupid. I was throwing money down the drain if we didn't optimize what we had. So in 2021, Helena, who anybody that's a part of my PA, or if you work with us or have ever inquired in our services, you will know Helena, because she is ultimately the first person that ever picked up the reins from me in terms of following up. And the thing that became very apparent to me very quickly is that, maybe I can sell better, or maybe some of my follow-up calls with something that's particularly my expertise would be better. But what is actually better is the fact that Helena follows up consistently, rhythmically. She rings when she says she's going to. She does what she's going to do. And it came to a point where it was happening, our follow-up had changed so much and it was happening so rhythmically. And don't get me wrong, this wasn't all just telephone call from Helena ringing people. It was also that we had an email follow-up campaign to go with it. It was also that we were utilising WhatsApp and text. But you can't, for me, that telephone part of it is the key bit of... We all love relationships. Like, we all know what happened when towards the end of 2020 and we were all allowed to go back into rooms with other people and events, and we went and bought tickets to things and we got back with other people, that we realised how much we'd missed. Actually, Zoom was a novelty to start, and now Zoom is super tiring being on it all day. And we love that relationship, that connection, and that was the thing that started to set us apart. And so obviously this wasn't just there you go, here are the leads. There was training. We had a very simple script, but ultimately our follow-up was just about making friends and helping people, asking if they had questions, asking what their pain points were and how we could help. And if we couldn't, that we couldn't help. But the thing is that when I focused on the rhythmic follow-up in our business, the results absolutely blew me away, because that year in 2021, we closed 20% more sales from 20% actual fewer leads, because follow-up was happening rhythmically. And it was a game changer, because obviously, we were making more out of fewer leads. It freed my time up massively, because I was no longer doing the follow-up. And also, obviously, as I said, I wasn't doing loads of it. I didn't have the bad energy weighing me down of, oh my God, I've still not got back to that person, or I'm behind, or, oh God, I'm running out of time today, but I've still got to ring, do this follow-up where you're not even kind of in the quiet energy for, in the right energy for it. So, and ultimately what it also did was it freed me up to then do, let's call it the follow-up on the big opportunities, nurture the relationships with people, with big clients, with other trusted suppliers, with other partners, with people that in the future I thought we might do work with. So this was no longer about kind of the lead follow-up. It freed me up to do that life follow-up much better. So for me today, I am talking about this topic because I know it was one of the key big, there's been monumental things in my entrepreneurial journey, but getting out of my own way and getting that happening without me having to do it was a big big. It was opening up a massive bottleneck. And so I know it can help you focus on the fun stuff in your business if you know that in the background, the lead follow-up is happening rhythmically and you're confident about it. It got to the point where I was getting so many comments from people that they were so surprised and pleased that even if they weren't buying from us, they were like, your follow-up is something else. Like you do actually say when you do ring when you say you're going to. You do, even when I don't answer the phone, and if I haven't answered the phone 5 times, I still hear from Helena or from other members of the team as we started to expand that out. And so today I just wanted to go through some really key steps that we took just to make that happen. Really simple. And I just think for some people, and I know lots of you listening will have the follow-up nailed, and I know that you'll have the sexiest automated systems, but I know there are so many people as well still trying to keep stuff together. And so the episode today is just to go through some simple things we did to make the follow-up something I didn't have to worry about in life. So how do you make follow-up consistent and effective without it taking over your life? Well, at MyPA, we create a simple framework called 3C follow-up framework. It stands for capture, connect, and commit. And I'm just going to break it down today. It's honestly super simple, but most of us, in my experience, don't implement it. So on Connect, this is step 1. And number 1 is about getting all of your leads into a central system. And for those of you who have sexy CRMs, amazing. I know some of you might not, but even if it's just a spreadsheet, a simple notebook, a place where all of your either life leads or business leads are the people you want to connect with, to make sure nothing slips through the cracks, that it's not like hanging around in your inbox. The amount of clients that we'll work with and leads are sat in folders in inbox is just getting it into one place. And similarly with people you've met on your journey, if you've been to a lunch or a dinner, like having a place where you keep all that together, whether it's an Apple Note is my one of choice, a journal, a notebook, somewhere where you keep together the who you've met and who you want to keep in touch with, so that when you have that free hour on a Friday with a cup of coffee, maybe you can make that phone call, connect with somebody from 12 months ago. Because if we don't just keep this logged in a place, whether it's a CRM or somewhere simple, there are so many missed opportunities. And from a relationship life point of view, I do like to set aside time once a week just to think about who I've met recently, who I haven't connected with for a long time, and just send a text. Okay, some don't reply, but it's amazing how many times people go, oh, hi, how are you? Yeah, should we meet for a coffee? What's going on your end? And things will come from it. So step 2 in our formula is connect. So we like to systemize the follow-up, because things that get systemized get done. And this is where, for me, most people struggle, and why follow-up has to be systemized, because it can't just depend on memory or your mood, whether you're in the mood for it today. So whether it's through automated reminders, tasks, you need a system where, and it's very simplest level, it's just a task list of today I need to follow up Bob, Jeffrey, and Richard from last week. Because my golden rule is that once someone has expressed interest in your business, even the slightest interest, they've downloaded something, they have given you permission to follow up until, the saying is quite crude, but until they buy or until they die. If somebody's put some details in to find out information, to even if it's at the very, very weakest level at the top of the funnel, they have given you permission to follow up, and they expect you to follow up. This is the big one. I think once you get that in your head, that as soon as somebody's gone, oh, I'm possibly interested in that, they expect you to follow up. So you're not interrupting, you're not intruding, you're not, it's not a bad, it might be a bad time to speak, but it's not a bad thing to make that call and just say, is now a good time? It's not a bad thing to send that email, to send that text. It gives off completely the right signals for any business that when follow-up is consistent, and even when our prospects aren't replying, the amount of times that 6 months later, 12 months later, 2 years later, I think our longest has been 3 years later, somebody's gone, do you know what? I'm glad you've rang. Now is the time. And those are the sweetest moments when you get this systemized and running. Because I spoke to so many business owners in the past, and they'll go, oh, well, yeah, do you know, I send a quote and I follow up once. And actually, I think it's rude if they just don't reply to the quote. But, people get busy. People Also, things go into junk, things get missed, things get deleted. Our phones are full of notifications. If you send somebody one text, the likelihood is it might get marked as read by accident. It's on you to keep persisting. And literally until somebody says to you, I'm done, don't contact me anymore, or do you know what, I actually bought from somewhere else. And if they do say that, that's also the most amazing learning opportunity to say, oh, really? Okay, no, can I just ask where you bought from? And why was that? Was it, oh, actually it's because it was cheaper, or because I thought it was better value, or because I knew the person that worked there. You can get learnings from that to improve in your business and to innovate and to talk to the team about why people might buy from other places. So even those calls, when somebody says, oh, sorry, no, I have already sorted that out, I don't need it anymore, I bought it from somewhere else, you can understand and dig in and find out why and how. So those are even the better kind of calls to make. So in my business, we're big believers in, we keep following up until we are categorically told no, because I believe that's what the person that's inquired expects. And every follow-up's invaluable, because even if you just learn what you can do better next time, that's how we all improve. And also, your follow-up shouldn't feel like pestering. So one thing we focused on a lot in my business is just that relationship building element of it. It's not just transactional about the thing that you sell. It's about building the relationship. How are you? How was the holiday? Oh, you've been to Disney. I love Disney too. It should feel like a relationship. It should feel like something valuable. And the follow-up should also have, if you can share some more content, some more value, we'll often send our prospects a video that we think might be helpful, or a book, or just an email, or even if I've created a piece of content that resonates with a problem that they have, just thinking that through. And really, really key, and this is something that we've learned from sales books, and particularly from Alex Hormozy, is that every single follow-up call we make ends with a commitment for the next action. So we don't get off the phone with I'll just ring you in whenever. It's 3 months, no problem. How about Monday, the 10th of March. Yeah, no problem. I'll schedule it in for then. Or we always just get a very, it doesn't have to be so fixed in the diary and an invite sent. It's just more about, I'm going to ring you at this time. And people remember, even if they don't answer the phone and they hear the voicemail, they get the text oh, they did ring back. It's all just about building that relationship and that trust. So you might be asking, how does this connect all together to focusing on the fun stuff? Because I believe that when the follow-up systemized and consistent in your business, it frees you to spend your time where it matters most, whether that's strategizing, connecting with clients, following up on your own relationships in life, or whether it's the next big ideas. And there's something so freeing when you get that rhythm of knowing that your diary or your team's diary is filling up with discovery calls, and that no opportunity is slipping through the cracks. It's literally one less thing to worry about, and it sets you up to be your best self. So my advice at Daylight, if you know in your business you're still doing follow-up sporadically, it's like When I Remember, or worse, you're not doing it at all, it's just to think about today, is it time to hand it over, to put a system in place that lets you focus on what you're best at? Trust me, you will not regret it, because I didn't regret it either. And it is something we can support with in my business if of any way, shape or form you would like a chat about it. But thank you so much for tuning in today, whether it's, whether you outsource it, whether you get a team member to do it, whether it's a member of the family, whoever, whatever it is. I really hope this episode has inspired you to really just nail down on the follow-up, to make sure you're not missing leads, that everyone's followed up rhythmically. So remember, capture your leads, connect with them meaningfully, commit them to the next step, and then you can focus on the things you love in your business. If this episode resonated with you, please share it with a fellow business owner that you think needs to hear it too. This is all what this podcast is about, helping more of us to enjoy the journey. And if you take anything from this and implement it, let me know, because I would love to know how it goes for you. So thank you so much for listening to today's podcast, and I will see you next time. Keep focusing on the fun stuff, and I'll see you soon.